Head Coach Aranda here.
All right, it's good to see you guys. It's crazy that we're here at the end of camp. Everyone's excited about school starting and all of it. So excited for the scrimmage tomorrow. You know, this week in particular, the growth of the team has been way cool to see. Pushing through hard things. There's plenty of times that I work my way up to the team meeting in the morning and kind of anticipating, you know, kids being asleep or a dreadfulness or any of that, and it's been nothing but. And it's just been way energetic and way focused and positive. So that part is way cool. And then it gets better when we hit the field and the effort that's shown on the field and the competitiveness of when we're striving, pushing each other and to be better. And if the tempers do flare, they're extinguished really quick. So way proud of that. We've been able to do hard things and push the team that way without kind of blowing up. And so excited for tomorrow. I think we want to see improvement in the run game on offense and perimeter blocking with our skill people, and then on defense we want to see consistent effort, and we want to see really hard edges in defending the run. Take whatever questions you guys got.
Dave, what are you hoping to see this coming week, and then when do you transition into Albany?
Yeah, so this next week we'll be really transitioning into school mode. I think all of our guys are just probably sick of seeing my face as much as they've seen it, and maybe some of their coaches' faces too. And so I think to get back into school mode and to be a college student again, I think they're excited for that. So we'll be getting back into that mode. But then, along with that would be whittling down the installs, and so really getting into a travel size package for what can make the trip to McLean versus Albany. And then the third piece would be the opponent scout of Albany and working certain facets of that game that need work.
You mentioned the running game. Is Squirrel going to go with the scrimmage tomorrow?
He is not. So he is still, I think he's going to be probably another week out. And so I think the start of next week, we're anticipating to have him.
How frustrating is it for him? He's been dealing with this really his entire career, and you need him more now than you maybe have ever needed him. How frustrating is that?
Yeah, it was, I had a lot of prayers all around for him. I think in talking to him, there's MRI. It took about 24 hours to get the reading of that. It was a very long 24 hours. And so, I think it felt where it was, there was some confidence in that it wasn't a tear or it wasn't anything bad, but then, his history is kind of banging on the door. And, I think it was very difficult for him. I think it was an opportunity for all of us to support and kind of throw ourselves in the space that he was, and I thought we were able to do that. So, it's all turned out good, and we're excited to have him back.
Dave, I've heard coaches say, especially middle fall camp, by the end of fall camp, you're so inward focused on your team that it's difficult to really know who you are until you face another opponent. But what do you feel like you know about this team, and what do you feel like you don't know that you maybe aren't going to know until the season comes around?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I know that they're a connected team. I know that they believe. I know that they're a hard-working team. I think we were talking. One of the things we showed was there was a game last night, and I think it was Seattle. Who did Seattle play? Chicago. And Seattle was struggling with penalties, and we keep bringing up our game last year versus Texas State, and we had a few others too. And so I think, more games early in the year are lost rather than won. And this particular game with Seattle, I think there's 13 penalties. They've got a draft pick on the offensive line that's going to be a great player. And, we talk about being in the pit, when you start off kind of an unconscious incompetence, and then all of a sudden you find out all the stuff that you thought you knew but you don't know, and now there's a conscious kind of incompetence. You're kind of fighting through it. We got a fair amount of guys in the pit right now. And I think he had 5 penalties or something like that yesterday. And so we showed all of that, because I think what can get lost, and we're doing everything we can to not get into this space, but what can get lost, like say if you have a 4-play rack or a 6-play rack or even a 10-play rack of plays, say there's an explosive, there's a positive, oh, someone jumped off sides, okay, all right, there's a dig for 10 yards, that one penalty just kills the drive, kills momentum, especially if you're on the road, right? It's doubled down now with the crowd and the momentum and everything else, and so everything is a thing, and that thing's connected to a bunch of other things. And so I think we have to be way intentional about how we handle all of that. And the youth of this team and all of it, it's a really big question. That is my number one question. Yeah.
Dave, how have you seen the offense kind of bounce back after last Saturday? They were, like you said, they struggled in some areas. How have they bounced back?
Yeah, I think energy was the main struggle there, and it's always been a positive. And I take responsibility for that. I probably didn't talk it up enough, and so we've got our scrimmage set to where it's pretty early, so you gotta have to wake up thinking that you're ready for football, and I probably didn't emphasize that enough, and so I don't think we were ready. And we were able to play our way into it. There's a lot of positives there. I thought the run game got better as it went on. I thought Blake was very on point. I thought the receivers gave effort and blocking and tried, but it just wasn't the juice that you normally feel. And I think we've got a youthful offense that thrives off of that. And so I anticipate tomorrow will be much better. And the practices have been great. We had 2 full pad practices back to back, and those might have been the best practices that we've had. The hardest ones were.
Have you seen some of the receivers emerge? That's a group that's pretty young,
Yeah.
kind of unproven.
Yeah. I think, Hal Presley's a guy that comes to mind. Monterey's continued to be more consistent. Javon Gibson is making a lot of plays. You look at Gip, like his spring semester was a record GPA for him. Just everything kind of turned on that way. And it's funny when things kind of turn on in that phase of it, how it doesn't take long to work its way to the field, and it's turning on for him now. So he's really vying for time. Armani's doing great things. So I think in Dallas, I meet with all the guys one-on-one, and all the receivers I meet with just rave on Dallas, and I can see Dallas's impact on them. I mean, they know that they're loved and that people believe in them, and they're playing like that. So it's exciting to see.
Can you tell if the younger players, even though this is your third year, only third year, are your younger players now who you're bringing in better than the ones you had the first year? Can you start to sense that it's getting better?
I don't know if I think I wouldn't use the term better. I would use maybe more understand, maybe more believe. I think a fair amount of people when I first got here, and there's still some now, that like, I don't know what this dude's talking about. What is this dude? Where'd you find this guy? And so I think that was a huge piece of it. And I think now the young guys that we recruit now have come. I think this is a good point, because I think this is always the struggle for coaches, and I just wish that it would all be handled better, because when you recruit the whoever you're bringing in, obviously there's a year relationship and parents, and they get to know you, and so when they come in, they're coming for some of it already, they know, and so it's much smoother. But when you come in and there's already kids there, someone else had that relationship with them, and they're probably, this is like the third guy or the whatever guy and all that other thing, and so there's there's not wanting to get hurt, not wanting to be abandoned, not all that stuff's real, and so coaches, it's more of an onus, right, to have some understanding and have some self-awareness and meet them where they're at, as opposed to, this dude, give me another one. And so I think it's way different approaches. I think it's probably better for the coach to come in with kids that are already there, because it's harder, and they've got to, transform to make it work.
Dave, have the veterans been able to show the younger guys the energy level expected, the precision, all that kind of stuff?
They have, yeah. And so they've jumped right into it. So I think, today was a great example. We had helmet practice, and you look at just all of the opportunities where, we just finished. We had 2 full pad days. We had shells yesterday, and the really physical practices and all of it. And so how many times in football do you finish with a thing, right? And you've got another thing that's right ahead. Meanwhile, you're in a thing right now. And so just so many teams. There's just a mountain of teams. And, we were one of them last year, and cost us, really, when you finish something and there's something ahead and you don't pay attention to what you're in now. And so, today was a training. The training wheels were on for us today, in terms of how we handle that. And that, regardless of talent or scheme or any of it, we can really be good at this area, and there's just so many teams that are just taken down by either what just happened or what's ahead. And so I thought they were able to handle today really good. I think the leadership, the vets, had a big part of that.
Dave, earlier in the summer you mentioned you saw potential in the passing game. Part of why you guys felt so excited about Blake at quarterback. Have you seen the passing game develop the way that you wanted to through fall camp?
Yes. Yeah, I think Blake's been really impressive. I think Kyron Drone's been really impressive. And so, there's a couple throws where you just, the zip that's on the ball, the placement where it's at, the anticipation, the timing. We got a fair amount of guys that after, Ben is one of them, where after a throw will come up to Blake and go, man, that was awesome, or that, great throw, stuff like that. So, it's a different dynamic that way. And then I think Blake, with all of it, is continuing to kind of stay attached to kind of the day-to-day process, and is bringing guys along with him in terms of, this is how I study, this is what I do. And I think that's a big stretch for him. He's a very private dude, and I think obviously this role is some of that's going to be expanded, and I think he's doing it in a really good way.
Dave, thinking about the young defensive back group, I think about last year, there were a few games, BYU comes to mind, Big 12 title comes to mind, where y'all were able to stop the run from too high, but then teams would just take shots at the corners. And not a lot of times the plays on the balls weren't there. Are you seeing development in that arena, because there's going to be more 10 personnel, more spread ball this year in the Big 12? Are you confident in that young DB group?
I think that's a good question. I think that's ongoing. I think one of the areas that that we could probably do better at is defensive linemen, pressure, closing in on the ball, or just right now I think Ron's got however many pressures. I'm sure if Eric Mateos was here, he would know exactly how many. And so just with the pressures that come, the idea would be, hey, veer away from the cue, right? And there's all this leadership and all this veteran experience in these O-lines and D-lines. You've got the alignment, you got the assignment, you took the right steps. Okay, that's great. None of this kind of working to the cue is going to do any good, right? We want to keep that quarterback healthy, but also we've got just so much inexperience on offense and defense as far as the skill positions, and they need to work. And I think it takes a competitive thing to kind of get all into it and then win a rush, and then kind of shut it, close it down quick. And we probably haven't been the best at that. And so I think what that does at the end of the day is kind of muddy the water in terms of how are we holding up coverage-wise, when the protection is kind of is being thwarted and everything with this pressure or T.J. Franklin or Apu or Cole or any of that. And so I think we can be better there. I know for sure we have the talent in the back end to do it. That is something we're still have to answer in terms of how efficient we're going to be.
Thank you, Dave.
Is that it? Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Well, Bryson, one more week before game week. What's kind of the plan, do you think, as far as the team?
Right now, it's just continuing to wake up each day and just bring a certain intentionality to each of our practices and to our meetings. I think this fall, we've had a lot of good success with the camp, and a lot of guys have been working their tails off. But most importantly, though, just keeping the same thing and same consistency every day till week 1.
You feel like the progress has been pretty good?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The progress has stood out tremendously. We have young guys stepping up. The leadership has went up, but most importantly, the energy and the team bond has taken a step that we were trying to take in the spring, and now we finally got. So it's very impressive, and it's nice to be a part of a unit like this.
Bryson, can you tell the younger guys are better than maybe when you were a younger guy because the recruiting's getting a little bit better along the way? Can you tell that at all?
Yeah, I think that the talent is definitely something. We have a lot of talent as far as the young guys, and especially on defense, but mostly the maturity. So, having the maturity to go on the field and, watch film every day and take notes during meetings, those are the things that are important. So as a freshman, if you can go in there and do that and meet with some of the older guys and the coaches and do extra, that's going to be the advantage that we're going to have as far as on our team. We got depth, and we're just getting players that can be in the can-do category and be able to play in the season.
Bryson, when you first got here, what position did Coach Rule want you at? And then when Aranda got here, how did that flip? And you finally found this home as kind of a pass rushing jack. Can you kind of walk through that journey of where you thought you were going to be and then how you ended up here?
Yeah, absolutely. So Coach Rule recruited me as a Sam backer. So that was pretty much like in this defense, the star position. But, I went through injury and stuff, but came to when Coach Aranda got here, it was just finding a role for the team. And, it started out on special teams, which is something that we take very seriously, and Coach Aranda takes it seriously. So I had to find a home there, and I thought that was going to give me the advantage to pretty much figure out what I can play on defense or just be versatile pretty much. So whenever, Coach Roberts was taking me through fall camp and spring ball at the time, it was just going out there doing what I can each day, and pass rushing became a home of mine. And it's something that I just continue to work at. And now that we have this year coming up, we have a lot of things that are going in, a lot of packages. So it's going to be pretty fun and exciting.
Yeah. Coach mentioned that he thinks teams are going to key in on you this season on pass rushing downs. Are you already kind of dreaming up like what you're going to do when you get their best pass protector on you?
Absolutely. So most importantly, my goals was to come in and figure out two techniques that I could use in the season, and those be my home techniques. And working those in the spring and then coming in fall camp, I've been able to perfect them and add more to my package. So that's the goal, and I'm gonna go out there tomorrow and try to find something else to do and perfect.
Are you thinking much about that first game yet?
I'm thinking about the game, but most importantly, it's just looking up to the next day. So, focusing on the practice tomorrow, focusing on the practice next week. Those are the things that are going to prepare us as a team, as a unit, to go out there and everything. We want to treat everything the same because everything matters. So, if we go out here and we have consistency at practice, the games are going to be the same thing as practice, and it's going to be pretty cool because you're going to see the things that happen at practice, the habits that we take from here onto those games are going to be very similar. So I'm not thinking about it too much, but just trusting the process in that sense.
Bryson, that depth at linebacker, Garmin and Will and Josh, I guess, were in here the other day. That's just crazy, isn't it? How many people you can roll in there?
Yeah. Man, so that room is special. We got a lot of young guys in that room pretty much. And, having each guy, they have their own certain attribute that they can, their strengths. And that's going to be the advantage in that room. So it's a lot of talent and a lot of versatility there. So with our defensive packages going in, we're going to be able to move guys at different positions at different spots and have different roles during the season for them.
I mean, Bryson, you have been clear last year. You guys have made it clear. That's over.
Yeah.
But is there a sense that you guys can walk around with pride, and does that make a difference, knowing who you have been and wanting to have that feeling again?
Yes. So knowing what we went through last year to get to that point is the focus on how can we work on now and bring from what we learned there and bring that to fall camp now and to the first game and improve. So most importantly, it's just I don't think that we're thinking about the last year's season, but pretty much to think about how did we get to that point last year and then doing it even better now.
Obviously, you said at Big 12 Media Days that, this is a new team, and it's
Yeah.
not the same as last year. You guys want to kind of build your own legacy. What's the identity do you think you guys have established in fall camp, and what is this team?
This team's bond is unique. Each player, offense and defense, is going to be something that's going to allow us to play complementary football throughout the season. But definitely the team bonding and the team chemistry and being able to have young guys step up, that's the advantage. Being able to put people in certain positions are going to be what is going to stand out for us as a team. And that's going to be pretty much the main focus and the advantage that we're going to have as a unit.
Well, Ben, you'll have one more week before game week. What are you hoping to see maybe this coming week from the team or your position group?
The biggest thing is probably to take strides in the scrimmage. Last week's scrimmage wasn't the best. I didn't get to experience a whole bunch of it. But I think if we take the next step this week in the scrimmage, I think it really will show where we're at as a team.
You feel like y'all bounced back after that? Because offense did kind of get dominated a little bit at times in that scrimmage.
And have we bounced back?
Yeah, has the offense bounced back? Yeah.
I think so too. I think we really emphasized coming out with a lot of energy, a lot of focus, doing the little things, because doing all the little things equals the big things. So we really focus on coming out this week and taking care of business, and hopefully tomorrow that'll show.
Have you thought much about that first game yet?
To be honest, no. I mean, I know where it's at. I know what date it's on, but no, I'm focused on us right now.
Ben, tight end is such a unique position. Got to run routes, got to block on the edge, got to block out on the edge for sweeps and stuff like that. What did you feel like your goal was this offseason for, whether it's dominating out on the edge for defensive linemen or leading out front or pass catching or anything else for you?
Yeah, so I had 3 main goals going into fall camp, and it was be better on the front side of wide zone, make the contested ones, like the contested catches, and then my third one was being able to lean on other teammates. Sometimes I feel like I don't necessarily, push myself onto my teammates, and I feel like leaning on them is a good thing, and it shows, the team aspect and why you should be a team. So.
What have you learned from that?
Vulnerability.
It's hard, ain't it?
Yeah. Some humility. All the good stuff.
How do you think that's made you better as a player and also as a person?
Oh, I think it helps me open up to the team. Sometimes being bottled up is really easy to do. Letting yourself out there is kind of difficult. So I think, being more open, communicating more, talking with the entire offense, not just my select group. So, I think I've, impacted others from a leadership standpoint. I think I've also improved myself.
Ben, what are you seeing from Blake these last few weeks during camp?
Everything.
Yeah.
He's a good. He's been playing really hard. He's been playing really well. Coach Bell's coaching him to the best of his ability. He's doing really well. I'm happy. His completion percentage is up. He's making some really good throws. He's doing the things he's supposed to be doing.
How about leadership-wise? Is he kind of taking hold of that?
Yeah. So it started this last summer. Everyone was kind of expecting it. Waiting for his moment, I guess. But he's come a long way since the beginning of summer. He's become more vocal. He's become more influential. He's been texting me, asking me to do all these things with him now. So he's really stepping out of his shell and, wanting to become the best leader he can be.
Was the first pass he threw against Kansas State to you, or was it somewhere? You remember that?
I do not.
Well, I brought that up because of the rapport that the quarterback and the tight end. You want to have it with everybody, but what is that like, the two of you, the communication level without ever saying anything?
I'd say it's pretty high. Communication can be hard when you're not talking directly, but I feel like the offense is set up to be able to be non-communicative, I guess. I don't know, just kind of click. Just don't really know the way to put it.
And you talked about the contested catches. How much have you worked on that, and do you feel like you've gotten quite a bit better?
Yeah, I feel like I've been put in a lot of situations just this fall camp. Not necessarily just running the routes I've been running in the past, but expanding my toolbox and running new routes and learning how to play through certain defenses and just getting better. So yeah, I think I have gotten a lot better at that.
Then go ahead.
Go ahead.
My friend called it the Peyton Manning route, where he would always hit Dallas Clark, the tight end, layering it over the linebackers in front of the safeties. Is that something you and Chapin have been working on this fall camp?
To an extent, yeah. Not exactly the same, but yeah. Blake's got a lot of finesse, and I like to catch the football, so we work really well together.
Yeah. And y'all have really good experience, obviously, at tight end, but it seems like you have some young guys that are kind of coming on. What have you seen from those guys?
I've seen a lot. So we were fortunate enough to have all of the new tight ends this year came in the spring, so they were all able to do spring ball except for Cody. But so at least they got a taste of what college football was like. So they're kind of taking strides now in fall camp, which is good. It's like they had their first fall camp in the spring, and now they're almost kind of fitting right into everything that's going on. So it was a good head start for them. I'm happy that they're here. I love all of them.
So it's Mark, Kelsey, and Cody.
Yep,
right?
the three of them, yeah.
Kelsey's one of the most unique prospects I've ever seen come out of high school. What have you seen from him? Just 6'1", but kind of has wide receiver skills.
Yeah, he's very athletic. He's kind of freaky.
Yeah.
He's fast. He's strong. The first couple weeks in the weight room in the spring, he was throwing weight around. So it's kind of cool to see.
Can't have him lifting more than the older guys.
Yeah, right. He has. He's done it. He's a strong dude. He's fast. He's savvy. He understands the game of football. He fits really well into this offense.
For the offense, real quick, what do you think the main difference from the spring to the fall now? Have you seen any big changes, or guys stepping up, guys feeling more comfortable?
Yeah, I've seen some improvement from the receiver room. That was a spot where we lost some guys last year. So now guys are starting to kind of step into their form. Hal and Gip and Josh Cameron, Monterey, a couple of freshmen stepping up. It's cool to see competition in itself. Last year was the quarterbacks. This year it's the receivers. So it's always fun.
Thank you, Ben.
Appreciate you guys.